Hi, everyone. It's me again, Caroline, with Thriving Abroad Expat Interviews. And, I've got some amazing, super awesome, fantastic folks that I get to chat with that are doing amazing things. They're thriving abroad, they're living abroad. And it's always a pleasure to bring folks like this to you. And today I have the pleasure of chatting with Nikki Miller. And she is exciting because she's over in our motherland, Tanzania. Hi, Nikki. Welcome.
Hi, Caroline. Thanks so much for having me.
Sure, my pleasure. So let's get into this, like they say. Um, you're a newbie to the transition. Tell us, where did you come from and how did you pick Tanzania?
So our family moved from New York, Brooklyn, New York. I am originally from Baltimore, Maryland, but had been living in New York for the past 19 years. Um, and we chose Tanzania because it's one of the few places now during the pandemic where American passports are accepted. So there's not very many places, um, unfortunately, where we can go.
Oh, okay. I wasn't aware of that. Okay, so uh, how many of you in your family?
Right. So we came with myself, my husband, my daughter, and our three pets. We came with a dog, a large dog, a cat, and a chinchilla.
No way, a chinchilla. That must be a special, special pet in your family.
Absolutely.
Oh, so
And
what was that
very
like?
complicated to get here. Very complicated to get here. So I actually just recently did a part one and part two of moving abroad with pets because a lot of times moving abroad is just such can be such a complicated thing to do for humans to come with children and figure out school situations and work and everything like that. But then when you add in that a lot of times we have fur children also, we have our pets that we've had for years and we're bonded to them, and you don't want to leave them behind. They're your family. So I did a two-part YouTube series on how the process we had to go through to get our three pets here to Tanzania. The dog and the cat were fairly easy because they're common pets, but the chinchilla is considered exotic, and technically he's a rodent, and a lot of airlines do not want rodents on the plane, period.
Oh my
I don't
goodness,
care
that is
what
so,
kind of carrier you put the rodent in, they don't want them on the plane
yeah.
because there's always the
The risk
you
of
know
them getting loose.
getting out. Exactly. So we
Yeah.
had to find a airline that would allow us to bring our chinchilla, and their stipulation was that we had to go through a cargo shipping company that had experience with shipping exotic animals, specifically rodents. So it was a process. It was a process.
And what is your baby chinchilla's name?
His name is Rice Ball.
Rice. Okay, that is so cute. Well, he is a lucky chinchilla to have you. I'm sure he appreciates you.
I sure hope he does. We love him to pieces.
Well, we're going to drop the link to that video in this video so that folks can check that out because I'm sure that's going to be on a lot of people's mind. I did travel with my fur baby too, and it was, it's interesting you said that. He was only maybe a year old,
Okay.
when I had to travel with him. And I kind of struggled with it, because I was in the middle of a war zone at the time. And I'm like, should I take him with me? Should I leave him? Can I do this? And I was going to a place I'd never been before, Mexico. So a lot of folks that have pets, they do think about these things. And the best thing I could have ever done was to bring him like I did. So they're very special. They're
They
very
are.
special.
You have a dog or a cat?
Yeah. So tell me about you haven't been there that long, but tell me what the adjustment has been like so far in Tanzania. What is it like?
It's a beautiful country. That's my husband walking in the background. Sorry.
Hey,
Beautiful
that's
country.
okay. It's
Um,
okay.
Tanzania, we're in the main city, Dar es Salaam. So it is a city in every sense of the word. It is diverse, um, and it's a coastal place. So it's warm, it's tropical. To me, it feels like being in the islands. I've been to quite a few of the Caribbean islands. My father's from Trinidad, and the vibe, the energy, the just the feel of it feels like you're on one of the islands. You could absolutely get lost in it as if you're on one of the Caribbean islands. Yeah.
Now, you're planning to go there. Was it a long process, or did you pretty much come to a quick uh,
Mhm.
plan B exit?
So initially, we had always, as a family, dreamed of living abroad. Always, always, always. It had always been something we wanted to do. But in the pre-COVID world, you just never can find the time. It feels like something that's so distant and just like a pipe dream, like it would never happen. So then when the pandemic hit and it forced everyone to stand still and reflect, my industry, I work in the wedding industry. I'm a wedding filmmaker back in New York. That's what I've been doing for the past 7 years. My industry was completely halted because you can't gather in groups. There is no celebration. There is no bringing in your family members that may have underlying conditions. So our industry completely was just the bottom was, pulled from under us. So in that time, we as a family were just like, now's as good a time as any to maybe try living abroad. It had always been something that we could never find the time to do, never figure out how to squeeze it in. And now all we had was time. So the first thing we started doing, like most people, well, where would you want to go? Um, and then some of the resources, you go to your blogs, you go to your Facebook groups, you go to YouTube, and you see where other Black expats are and their experiences in different places. And Tanzania just felt like something that was so like, wow, other places felt like, not that like, oh, we've been there, we've done that, but we had never been to any of the countries on the continent. So just based off all of the information we saw and read up about and researched, it felt like a good fit for us.
That is really nice to hear because there's so many people that are struggling with that. Where do I go? That's the big question. Where do I go? And I love the fact that you mentioned that you do research because I really am a big proponent of this. Like, right now Mexico is such a hot expat destination. However, it may not be your place, and we really need to just kind of listen to that voice within
Mhm.
and that something that tells us where the right place, because it may be Tanzania, it might be, Iceland, it might be just, anywhere. And we shouldn't just follow the crowd, but really go where we feel drawn to. So I love the fact that, you picked a country that is certainly not on everybody's um,
Right.
top 10 list of places to expat to. So very cool, very cool. What is the food like there? Is it a Caribbean flavor style?
It's coastal. There's a lot of fish, a lot of what they call prawn. We call shrimp back home. Lobster, just big seafood place. Um, and then you still have, but it's very flavorful. They are big on like chilies and spices and peppers. Um, a lot of like the Caribbean, again, very similar. A lot of things are stewed. So meals are very what I would call saucy, like a lot of like gravies and sauces with everything. Fruit is everywhere, like fruit trees, banana trees, mango, it's just growing by the roadside, like everywhere there's fruit. It's a beautiful place. It's a very colorful place, very, very colorful. Yeah.
And your family's adapted?
We have adapted. I feel like the hardest thing to adapt to was the time zone, honestly. It's an 8 hour time difference
Mhm.
between being here in the East Coast of the United States. So now when I talk to family back home, we're about a half a day away. Like when I'm getting up in the morning at 7, they're turning in because it's 11 p.m. for them. So we're at opposite ends when we catch up.
Yep, that is something to get used to. So I want to ask you something really quick about something that's very, very in the minds of women or anyone who's thinking of transitioning, and that's work. Now,
Yes.
you brought your work with you. Are you setting up shop there in Tanzania? Will you be doing that? What will you do for work?
That's something I'm still figuring out. Um, yes, I would say that anywhere in the world, if you are self-employed and able to take your employment with you, it does make for an easier transition, and that's any country. Because different countries will have different stipulations when it comes to hiring expats and being able to get work visas. So that is something I would say, regardless of where you go in the world, if you have a way to um, move with your own business, then the possibilities are really, really endless. Yeah.
That's good. Uh, so you're there, and I know that you just got there, but are you
Mm.
in thinking to the future? Is this a place that you feel will be home, or maybe do you have aspirations of traveling to other countries in the future?
For now, and from day one, I can say that Tanzania has felt like home. And it's very interesting. Coming from New York, I thought that I was going to have culture shock and adjustments. And, we as African Americans, or just, Blacks from the West, we are given a very interesting uh, we're fed interesting information of what the continent is and how it looks and what's available. So first, just finding people that were here living the lifestyle and showing us firsthand that Africa is not about flies in the eyes of children and distended bellies and poverty. Um, that many of the countries have flourishing cities, multicultural cities, booming nightlives, so just learning that from New York was amazing. Um, I didn't have a cultural shock adjustment that I thought I was going to have. And from day one, it has honestly felt like home. There are, of course, things that I miss, but they're so minor in comparison to everything I've gained from living here in Tanzania. The people are so welcoming. They're excited to see Blacks from the West. I was in a Uber. Uber is here. I was in an Uber taking a ride. Yeah, I was taking
Wow,
a ride.
that's good.
And one of the drivers, he told me, he's like, it's so good to see Black people from America. He said, because we only would see Americans coming from the West and they would be white people. So they're excited to see us. They're they're eager to get you speaking Swahili. They're excited to learn about your experiences as a Black person in the diaspora from the West. They're like they are. It's such a beautiful place, and the people are so welcoming. Yeah,
All right. Have you met other expats there?
absolutely.
Uh,
Yeah.
What would you say? Is it a large community or?
It's a community that is not, I wouldn't say it's large, but it seems to be growing because like, I guess like we did, you can find information online when you're looking for places to move abroad. And um, Tanzania is a beautiful country. So I would assume they all come for the same reasons. Yeah.
I bet it is definitely a country I would love to get to know. One of many countries there in the motherland. Well, I am so excited we had a chance to talk with you, and we're going to have to follow up with you and maybe a year, do like a year anniversary, what it's been like 1 year in Tanzania to see what your experiences have been. Because I'm sure you'll have a couple of bumps and, along the way, like, uh,
Absolutely.
like we all have done. Any last minute bits of motivation? I mean, this is just an inspiring story for anyone that's thinking about, making a transition, changing their life, and you have such a positive experienced so far, what can you say to someone who's contemplating the move?
I would absolutely tell people considering moving abroad, if you can't make a big move off, off the jump, consider doing a short-term stay somewhere, because when you're home, you think of all of, and we're all guilty of this. You think of all of the what ifs, what could go wrong, the reasons why you can't do it now, the reasons why you can't, you will never know what may happen until you go and experience it and actually have to navigate those whatever issues come up, and you find your strength in those moments. So I think we can get in our head and make every scenario, but you honestly just have to try it and do it. It'll never feel like the perfect time. There'll always be a reason why, oh, if I just wait one more year or one more month or one more week. Sometimes you just have to put skin in the game and just do it. And just know that home is always an option. Home is always an option. If you go and it didn't turn out the way you hoped it did, maybe it'll turn out even better. You can
It's
always go
true.
home.
That
So
is
don't let that stop you. You can always go back home. So yeah.
that is true. Thank you for those words of wisdom. And I am so proud of you and your family and your fur babies. And we're gonna follow up and see how you do in a year in your expat life. And I wish you all the super best, lots of blessings.
Thank you
Uh,
so much.
and thank you for chatting with us today. My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.